Thanks for having me. My name is Toufi Saliba, and the slides will start shortly. So I run a startup factory called the Privacy Shell, and it's mainly based in Toronto, Canada. Then when startups they make it to the next level, we call them they graduate, and then we move them to the Bay Area. So currently we have about 6 companies. We fail a lot, by the way, but we don't talk about failures, and we don't focus on failures. Every 2 failures, we have 1 successful company, and then we take it to the next level. We've been around for only 1.5 years. 6 companies running now. We have about 3 launching in January over the next few weeks. Next. 2 of the companies that we're working on, they're exiting this year. One is in February. We already have an LOI. It's called Crypto Video. And Crypto Video, it's a video chat that it's secure, and it's usually licensed by a lot of defense folks. Our first client was the Australian Defense, and then we've got a lot of other defense. They like it because it's clientless, and it uses the blockchain to ensure that the code that is loading on your machine is authentic. I heard that it's the first startup that is getting an exit from all blockchain startups. So we're very proud of that, and we're hoping that we can see many other startups that they're exiting from the blockchain because we can see a tremendous opportunity utilizing the blockchain for a lot of other things and not only finance. The other one, it's called CryptoMotion, and CryptoMotion is actually a merger of 2 companies that we started at Privacy Shell. One was actually an insole that goes in your shoes, and as you walk, it charges your phone. That alone is fabulous when you feel that you keep running out of battery and so on and so forth, and we have a goal to get to the emerging market. Now, how does that tie into the blockchain? The other company, it's more sensors that gets your identity from simply putting your shoes on. Then when you walk 15 steps, that's a voluntary action that can get you to unlock your crypto wallet. And that's something that can be very handy if you're using the blockchain for finance, if you have millions of dollars saved in your crypto wallet, and you don't want it to be only on your phone. Probably you want an additional way of authenticating to get your crypto wallet that it's related to you. So we feel that the combination of those 2 is super cool. And it charges itself and charges your phone, so it's quite fascinating. Next. The topic today, so I'm not here to talk about our companies. I'm talking here about global prosperity. I'm very close to a lot of the scientists that are building a lot of cool stuff in AI, in machine learning, in blockchain, and they kind of all tie together. You might feel that AI as a field has been around for about 30, 40 years. Blockchain has only been around for about 8 years. And how do they tie together? We feel that any AI that it's going to match the human intelligence or exceed the human intelligence would need a certain type of governance that we human feel comfortable about. The existing systems that they are out there in the world, kind of like the existing banks have been around for 34 years, or 70% of the governments outside of around the world, that they're not trusted by their own people, and that's because of the governance itself is not as strong as we would like it to be. So the blockchain is something that can be used to, or the science behind the blockchain, to increase the power of governance, and that's something that not a lot of AI people were thinking of until very, very recently. Next. Next. Get the next slide. So the next, especially when we're working towards something that it's global prosperity, it feels like it's a big deal and we won't be able to achieve it, but we're quite confident we'll be able to get there. Next. So 60 years of computing evolution. Can you guys see the two pictures? So the picture on the bottom, it's over 60 years ago. And that's a picture of a computer that can run about 7 transactions per second. So now, you know, your phones can run millions of transactions per second, but when it comes to validating transactions and so on and so forth, we rely on, especially if it's financial transactions, we rely on central authority to tell us that, hey, you know, your transaction is authentic, so you go to a bank or you go to some server somewhere. The blockchain evolution got us to the point where we don't need a central place to tell us that we are authentic, and it can be done in a way that is decentralized. And that has a tremendous amount of opportunities, but at the same time it was built distributed. But what you see on top, it's actually a picture of a miner that picture was taken probably 60 days ago. I kind of made the two pictures look from colors the same, but the difference between the two pictures is about 60 years. The existing blockchain has tremendous amount of opportunities, and it's only doing about 7 transactions per second globally. We feel we can do better while still maintaining the governance that we talked about, the strong governance that it's by the decentralized consensus mechanism. How many of you have heard of Satoshi Nakamoto? Okay, so I don't see a lot of hands, but Satoshi Nakamoto, it's a nickname or pseudonym for an individual or group that invented something that is called Bitcoin. How many of you have heard of Bitcoin? Great. So Bitcoin was the first application utilized the blockchain. But Bitcoin and blockchain, they're just scientific innovation that we can do a lot more than just a currency. And a lot of people, they call it the drug money. I can assure you it's not the drug money. It's just like any money. Some people use it to buy drugs. And there's a famous quote, somebody says that if you can't buy drugs with it, it ain't money. So, but it's not really the drug money, it's a scientific innovation that was released about 8 years ago that allows computers to work together and to get to some sort of consensus that you don't have to rely on a third party to tell you that you are authentic or that you're doing something that is right. Let's go to the next slide. The world's most powerful computer is here. So this statement's been repeated about 50 or 60 years ago. When you're looking at those computers, those are actually the top 3 computers in the world. And the biggest one is in China. And the other 2 there in Europe and in the United States. But that's what you see right here. Those are like the biggest single computer. But what I said, the world's most powerful computer is here. It's actually here in this room. Next slide. The world's most powerful computer and biggest computer is partially in your pocket. This is the world's biggest and largest and fastest and most intelligent computer. This is part of it. And what you have in your pocket is part of that as well. Imagine if those computers are working together towards something, what you can accomplish. There are currently 4.5 billion phones operating in the world, smartphones, if they are working together, they're bigger than any computer that was ever built by any organization by at least 100 times at any given time. And that number is only growing higher and bigger. What can we do with this computation? Next. And her pocket, by the way. It's not your pockets and mine and everybody. Next. So we worked internally at Privacy Shell at the Torah Protocol. The Torah Protocol, it's like, if you think of FTP, how many of you have heard of the FTP protocol? And then HTTP. You guys heard of HTTP? Great, I see everybody, okay. So the HTTP enabled the web, but the internet existed before HTTP. This is with something called FTP. The evolution of the internet from FTP to HTTP, there are about 11 years, and during that 11 years, a lot of predictions talked about the web that we know today. And we could have built the web on the FTP, but it would have been too cumbersome. The HTTP allowed us to build the web the way we know it, and we like it, and we utilize it every day. Since then, we haven't really seen a major protocol until the blockchain. And the blockchain is actually a protocol that allows computers to work together towards achieving certain consensus. But because it does not scale, like I've showed you before, in the way that we expect it to scale, where it still maintains the decentralization, still maintains the distributed nature, it does not scale that way. We needed to address that problem internally because all of our companies utilize the blockchain for a certain reason. So we started working on something called the Torah Protocol. Next. And one of the applications of the Torah Protocol, we call it the Torah Coin. What can we use the Torah Coin for? Perhaps banking the unbanked, since it uses the smartphones, and there are about 2.5 billion people in the world that they are unbanked today, but they have access to smartphones. Those people, if they were to use any banking system today, including Visa, they won't be able to, the existing scalability of the financial system exists today cannot power the unbanked. 2.5% to 3% transaction fee, that is extremely expensive. People cannot afford to pay that. Next. Who we are, before I actually get into that. So this is one of our companies, TODACorp. Phenomenal founders. Some of them you would find them here in the room. I'll start by talking about Laila Tratikov. Laila was the CEO of Wikimedia Foundation, Wikipedia. How many of you have heard of Wikipedia? All right. So Laila resigned from Wikimedia about 9 months ago. She joined us as a co-founder at TODACorp. We have Todd Gebhardt. Todd has been in InfoSec all of his life in cryptography, and he's well known in the Bay Area, in the entire America, and a lot of the world. That if you guys know, crypto in InfoSec, he was co-president at McAfee, and then vice chairman of Intel Security. You guys heard of Intel? All right. And then we have Elaine Wu, an extremely brilliant PhD from Stanford. Dan Tolliver, he's an ex-NASA dude. We call him the rocket scientist in the room. And I'm pretty much in all of the companies. Next. The opportunity that the Torah Protocol can present to the world. And the Torah Protocol is open to anybody to use. It's not, we didn't build it that we feel that it's just for us to use. Anybody can build on top of it, can do things with it. You can build your own. We're working with some governments actually around the world that they want to adopt it for their own currency management and so on and so forth. Some other companies that they're thinking the same way to take it to the emerging market. So processing 3 million secure transactions per second at 0.1% transaction fee. This is unprecedented. We don't have anything close to that on the planet that ever existed. That's based on our simulations, and that's a very modest simulation. The market size that we were looking, based on a lot of estimates, it's a $2 trillion market size. And that's $2 trillion per year in revenue that none of us were collecting, but we could be taking a piece of that. If we work together, we can be taking a piece of that in the next 5 years and bringing the world towards prosperity. So we have several penetration strategy, and we feel that it can be very disruptive to finance, but we are not working towards, against the existing financial world. We feel that existing financial world works in the world that we know it, but there's the rest of the world that it doesn't work there, and we need to address that. Next. So there are some facts here, about the existing banking system. Over 40 years old tech, current banking is not secure by design. The security of the existing banking is actually patches and patches on top of the existing system to make it secure. But I think we can do better. We can build something that is secure by design, something that doesn't cost a lot of money for transaction fees, because every time you add a patch, it's costing somebody money to add that patch and to secure certain transaction. Alternative methods like the existing blockchain, like I said, it doesn't scale today. There's a lot of work to make it scale. We're one of the people who are doing that work to make it scale. Next. So the solution requirement that's as identified by the Gates Foundation and the World Bank and many others. The Gates Foundation, they feel strongly about the global prosperity. To achieve that over the next 5 to 10 years, we need to address finance. And if you don't have finance, if folks around the world, they're still dependent on our donations to live and feed their family, we're never going to get to global prosperity. With global prosperity, we feel that we're introducing a new problem to the world, that in 5 years, that father who's struggling to feed his children by the end of working day will have a new problem. And that new problem might be buying a new iPad for his 3-year-old. That's a much better problem, and much better for all of us. If you build apps for iPad, you build solutions, or you build the iPads, it's better for all of us. We can sell more, and it's better for them, better for himself, better for his family. In order to get to the actual solution requirements, it needs to be secure by design. It has to be less than 1% transaction fee, over 100,000 transactions per second, and strong governance. Why do we say strong governance? Most of the people in the room here, we come from a background where we already have strong governance, because whether you're in the United States or in China or in Europe, we already have strong governance, so we don't feel the need for that. But there are places in the world where if you give somebody money, someone else might come and take it away from them just because they changed their mind, or they had a law that works in a certain way, they change their mind next day. That's not strong governance. If you have an agreement between two people, that agreement might not work if there's no strong governance. Next. So our motivation, we don't have political motivation, it's science-driven. We feel that if we reduce friction like any organism on this universe, that's not only for this planet, any organism in this universe, if you reduce the friction, more movements. If we have a solution that we can reduce friction by 99%, we expect a much better world ahead of us. Next. So, a lot of people can see the existing blockchain as threats. We see it as opportunities. We can share those slides and make them available to a lot of you guys if you're interested in. I won't necessarily go through each and every one of them, but we see an opportunity for humanity and card companies, existing banks, and tech and telcos. A lot of opportunity for existing banking system, and a lot of opportunity for the cloud and network and blockchain miners. The existing blockchain miners today, they make about $2.4 million a day. they're probably happy today, but we can make them much happier with something that can get to global prosperity. We can make banks happier, we can make Visa happier, we can make every human on the planet happier by introducing something that has less friction. Next. I won't go through this, actually. Let's go to the next slide. I don't think we have a lot of time. How are we doing on time? Are we good? We're good? Okay. So currently around the globe, there are about 220 companies that they provide lending on mobile. So that movement already started to get banking using mobile, but I think it's already there, but using the existing old banking system that we use today. If we provide them with a protocol that can, evolve better and can have less friction, it can benefit all 220 companies and their customers. Next. In second phase, we feel that we can reveal the true capability of the protocol, so we don't have to just go through the lending. We can, provide the opportunity for making every single person on the planet banked in a strong governance way. Next. Money doesn't grow on trees. That's an English expression. How many of you have heard of that expression? All right. So that expression is just basically, it's intended to mean that you can't just find money anywhere. You have to kind of work for money. It just doesn't grow on trees. You can't just go, in a field and pick money. Next. With Torah, it actually grows on trees. But those are binary trees. So what you see here is a simplified tree from 256 level to 5. But in a 256 level, we can have points in a Torah tree more than the estimated atoms in the universe. That's an opportunity for each and every one of you to work utilizing the Torah tree, utilizing the Torah protocol. So the next is what I'm going to show you about how we do the Torah protocol, which we can spend hours and hours, but to simplify things and reduce it to 30 seconds. When you send a coin from one person to another person, you don't need a bank to say that you are authentic. If your phone, you have 1,000 coins on your phone, but in the same time your phone is managing 32,000 coins for other people, pseudo-randomly chosen every block. That's the idea that how Torah Coin started, and each and every coin in Torah has a unique number for the life of it. So it keeps getting the wallet chain. So that's it for the Torah Protocol. I hope you guys continue watching the evolution of it, be part of it. This is the future. We're very close to it. We want you all to be close to it as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Toufi, for sharing with us your ideas. Now let's welcome another representative of our summit to give you a token of appreciation. So let's welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for your support for our contest and the summit. Thank you.